Okay, let me have it. What did you come up with? Expert systems over experts. What do you lose? What kind of problems do you end up having? Yeah. Emotionless. Okay.
You took it out of the detail from me.
Give me an example why that's important. Because I think we said before that the emotionlessness led to consistency, right? It's always doing the same thing, which can be a plus. So why can it be a negative? Can you give me an example? Okay, so when these decisions affect people, okay, yeah, that there can be problems that come in there if a system is not sensitive to those kinds of issues. Can you give me an actual concrete example? Yeah.
Like in AFL, if someone got tackled in the time before and it was a really bad tackle where you didn't call anything, the next time you got tackled again.
Okay, yeah, all right. So there's a sort of awareness that humans have of human beings, how they feel and how they've been affected by a situation, which not just affects each individual decision, but also how they relate to each other. All right, good. I think that's fine. Okay. Can someone give me a totally separate issue, problem, weakness, disadvantage? Okay, so I'm trying to think about. That's true. So we're talking about the hardware limitations of the system. I'm trying to steer away from the general ones, right? Because we can always say things like you need electricity and you need all these kinds of things, which are going to apply to every piece of technology, and we can list them off. That's fine. But can we be more specific about how it affects decisions? Okay. Did anyone have one that's a little more related? Up the back. Anyone? Any takers? Okay, all right, so the job thing, the employment situation, I'm not going to put that under here, okay, for two reasons. Even though it's actually valid, it's a very important issue to get, okay. Employment, as you saw, you may remember when we did multimedia, right? It's always a bit of a two-edged sword with technology because you destroy jobs and simultaneously you create them, right? So depending on what kind of technology, sometimes you end up gaining more jobs than you lose, or vice versa, okay? However, the real reason I'm not including it under here is that I'm trying to get at the way the decision support system functions and does its job. Like, how does it, not the social impacts outside. I'm like, well, okay, in this situation, what is better and what is worse? Does that make sense? Okay, now just keep my eye on the time. Roll call's going to come soon, so I'm just going to zip through. That's okay. I've got 4 reasons. Okay, so number 1, it can be dumb. Here's what I mean by that. Okay, excuse me. Common sense and intuition, right, are characteristically human sort of qualities, right? You're like, well, look, this obviously can't be true, okay? They clearly can't mean that. This wouldn't make any sense. Now, for a computer, that kind of thing is actually very difficult to program. Common sense, right? So when you say dumb, right, computers make completely ridiculous decisions. Just think of the last time GPS told you, okay, if you want to get from A to B, the best way to do it is go some crazy other way, okay, and then you'll land there half an hour later, okay? It's just following the rules that it knows to provide you with assistance in making your decision. And it doesn't see the common sense of, well, just because there's no, part on the map that shows you can go from here to here directly, it doesn't mean you can't, right? So common sense is something that is very difficult to program into a system. Secondly, this is the sort of the flip side of the consistency thing, right? Experts, one of the great things about them is that often they are marked by creativity, right? They can come up with a new kind of solution for an old problem or meet a new problem that they've never met before, and through all of their accumulated wisdom and experience, they'd be like, oh, okay, I can work out what to do here. Now, an expert system, by contrast, usually is marked by the fact that it'll keep doing the same thing every time. Very predictable, right? This is one of the challenges in producing a system that could beat a chess master. Right? Because if you play game after game after game, it'll keep on doing very similar things if you provide it with the same inputs. Okay? Now that's great for consistency. It's bad if what you need is actually something novel, something new, something creative. Okay? Alright. Thirdly, data integrity. Now what's data integrity? Do you remember? It has to do with reliability, right? It includes 2 things. Number 1, accuracy. Okay, the data that you have has to be right. And number 2, do you remember what was the difference? What's the distinguishing thing between accuracy and integrity? Yeah, that's still part of accuracy. Yeah.
It can be reliable.
Yeah, we mentioned that, reliability. I think I heard it. Yeah, you've got to have everything. Okay, so the difference between integrity and accuracy is not just is it right what you've got, but you've got to have the whole picture. Okay, so you know the way you remember it is in court people say, I swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Right? That's data integrity. Now, why is that a problem for expert systems? Okay, well, the pool of knowledge that an expert system is getting at, right? It's going to be fixed. Okay, it needs to be updated manually. So a crucial feature about an expert system is that of itself, it doesn't learn. Okay? So data integrity is a big problem for that because the world that we live in is constantly changing, right? So if it's going to be updated manually by some set of programmers and some other experts in the domain who actually know their stuff and they see how the situation is changing, then data integrity is going to go out the window very quickly. Okay? Not only will things change in the situation, okay, but also there will be new things discovered which the expert system doesn't know. Okay? Whereas humans, learning is part of what makes us human, right? So an expert system, very important. This is a big distinction between this and the next kind of level, artificial neural networks. We classify both of these as artificial intelligence. But expert systems, they don't learn, they don't change unless you do it yourself. Whereas an artificial neural network, the cool thing about it is it learns on its own. We'll get to that later. Okay, one last reason. One last disadvantage. It has to do, again, with this not learning thing, okay? You program a rule in to your expert system, okay, and it learns to make these decisions. But what if the decisions turn out really bad? Okay, you make this kind of choice again and again and again, and it's obvious that you get very, very poor outcomes. Okay, if it's going to be consistent, like an expert system is, it's going to keep on doing it again and again and again. Right? It won't respond to its stimuli. Okay, when it makes a decision and it turns out badly, it's not going to change like a human would. Okay, how many times do you have to press something and get zapped? And you're like, okay, I'm going to stop doing that now, right? Whereas the expert system is just going to keep on going after a particular line of action, a particular series of logic, even if it turns out badly. Okay. I suppose you could call it unresponsive.